It was supposed to be a simple drive. Maya and I were heading out to our friend Eric's farmhouse for a party, excited to leave the city behind for a night. The roads out here cut through endless grazing lands, wide open fields dotted with the occasional tree or fence. Google Maps had the route loaded, and though my phone's data had cut out a while back, I figured we'd be fine. I was wrong. The first sign that something was off came when the moon rose. At first, it was nothing unusual, pale or peeking over the horizon. But as we drove deeper into the countryside, it seemed wrong. It was too big, too low, and its light wasn't soft or silver. It bathed the fields in a strange, faint crimson, as though the world had been dipped in blood. Maya stared out her window, her arms crossed tightly over her chest. "Does the sky look brighter to you?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I glanced up. The stars were there, but they were dim, swallowed by that unearthly red glow. "Yeah. Weird, huh?" I tried to sound nonchalant, but my grip on the wheel tightened. We passed through stretches of farmland, endless and desolate. The fence posts seemed taller, sharper, their wood blackened like they'd been scorched. The fields themselves were empty, no cows, no movement, just long, brittle grass swaying under the breeze. I hadn't seen another car for miles, and then we saw them. At first, I thought it was just my imagination. Dotted along the fields were figures, vague and shadowy, standing far from the road, too far to make out any details. They weren't moving, just standing there, like statues carved from the night itself. "Maya," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Are you seeing this?" She turned to me, her face pale. "The shadows." "Yeah, I thought I was imagining it." As we drove on, the silhouettes didn't disappear, they multiply. Figures appeared every few hundred feet, standing just at the edge of the fields, always facing the road. Their forms were human, but wrong limbs too long, heads slightly tilted. Unmoving yet somehow impossibly alive. "Maybe they're just scarecrows," I muttered, though I didn't believe it. "They're not scarecrows," Maya whispered. Her breath fogged the window as she pressed closer, trying to get a better look. The road stretched endlessly before us, narrowing as trees began to creep closer on either side. The moon's red glow turned the landscape into a surreal, hellish painting, and the figures, they were getting closer. At first, they stayed in the fields, then they began appearing near the fences, their black forms clearer now. No faces, no features, just hollow outlines that seemed to drink in the moonlight. I sped up, the tires crunching over gravel, but they didn't fall behind. They started walking. "Maya, they're moving," I shouted, panic rising in my chest.